And of course, this all comes as the Federal Reserve pulls out all the stops in its fight against this pandemic. And I want to bring in Brian Cheung for more on this now, because Brian, we know the Fed is now giving emergency aid to mutual funds, helping to be a backstop there. It's also helping out in the currency markets as we see investors around the world rush to the US dollar. What is the latest from the Fed?
Good morning, Alexis. Two major announcements from the Federal Reserve, unprompted, that were announced before the market opened today. There was one that came out at 11:30 p.m. last night, so was working pretty hard last night. But they announced what they call the Money Market Mutual Fund Liquidity Facility, or MMLF. And if this is getting lost in the number of other facilities that have been offered by the Federal Reserve, that's because this is the fourth that they announced. And basically what this facility does is it's operated out of the Boston Fed, and it allows major dealers to basically swap things like commercial paper, things like agency securities. They can actually swap U.S. Treasuries and get money that they can then use and take out from the Federal Reserve as a loan. So very similar to other structures that we've seen, like the commercial paper facility. But again, this is broader and covers a lot more things. Now, something else that the Federal Reserve announced this morning, you mentioned, concerns dollar liquidity. There's been a lot of concern. I've actually been talking to a lot of people that said this is really the thing to watch here, which is that the US dollar shortage around the world is going to be a big, major problem. You have a lot of companies that are hunkering down right now because they have currency hedges that they need to cover with US dollars. They're all trying to rush to find that at one time. So the Federal Reserve announcing with a number of central banks around the world currency swaps. Now, if this sounds familiar, it's because it's very similar to what the Fed announced earlier on Sunday when it said it was going to announce lower interest rates on dollar swaps with the major central banks like Bank of Canada, the BOE, the ECB, the BOJ. This swap announced today is going to be $60 billion with a number of other banks, like, for example, the Bank of Brazil, the Reserve Bank of Australia, in addition to smaller swap lines with the Bank of New Zealand and also the Danish Central Bank. So all things worth watching. And again, the Federal Reserve has a number of other facilities that they could continue to release at some point. But anyway, it just seems like the focus is still on the Federal Reserve for right now, and it seems like they still have more bullets to unleash as they try to battle the coronavirus.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.